Today, I'm going to speak to you about something so sensible. You know what? We are living in a world where young people are addicted to one kind or the other. Addictions. Addictions are very, very powerful things. Gone are the days where alcohol or smoking are the only addictions. Today, varieties and different kinds of addictions are flooding into our society as well. Okay, this might be surprising, but you know what? There are some people who have this kind of eating disorders. You know, they eat a lot, they spend all their money only to eat, and this is also a kind of addiction. And the mobile addiction. You know what? Certain people can't live without their smartphones. This is a kind of addiction too. Okay, let me tell you a real incident that came in the newspapers later in 2019. There was a girl in Punjab. She's just 18 years old when she died. You know what? She was so addicted to the mobile that she kept her mobile in the charging mode, and the whole night she was listening and watching the mobile. And she did not realize that she went to sleep, but the mobile phone was just beside her pillow in the charging mode. And about 4 a.m. in the morning, the mobile burst into flames and she died instantly because her brain was into pieces. This was in the papers. This was in the newspapers recently. Addiction. So my question for you today is not are you addicted? That's not what I'm supposed to ask you. I'm supposed to ask you, hey, what's your addiction? Because that's the kind of addiction that is spread across young people these days. Young people. This is affecting people physically, mentally, emotionally, and also spiritually. And I've seen people losing their valuable relationships, their valuable time, everything, their studies, because of this one addiction. They're struggling to come out of this addiction. Hey, brother and sister, you might be listening to this knowing not what to do to get rid of this. Don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll know and find a way for it. Let me read you a verse, which is from Galatians chapter 5 and verse 1. Christ has made us free so that we can be free. So be strong and don't let yourselves be slaves again. Slaves. Addiction. The Bible talks about addiction. Let me show you another verse as well. Romans chapter 7 and verse 20. So, when I do bad things that I don't want to do, it shows that I'm not really me who is doing this. It's the sin. Lost of control. This is what addiction is. The Bible tells about this clearly. If you let me talk, let me give you 3 steps to break the chains of addiction. The chains of addiction. The first step to break the bondage of addiction is to number 1, the first step is take responsibility for your action. I repeat, take responsibility for your action. When you stop the blame game, you're already walking into the path of freedom. Stop the blame game. Putting the blame for your problem and the predicament is not your solution to the problem. I've seen people saying, I was a good boy once until I got mingled with that one friend, with that one gang of friends. They only spoiled me. They are responsible for me to get addicted to this so and so. My dear friend, you know what? Though they taught you the habit, they are not wholly responsible for your addiction. You're not someone to be trained with a whiplash. Remember, God has given you free will. You could have dismissed it. You. It's always you. So take up the responsibility. The responsibility is yours. Don't get in a comfort of putting the blame on others as you are so righteous. My friend, you know what? Don't do that. So when you start the blame game, you're getting more and more into the deep chains of addiction. And to be honest, this blame game started when Adam blamed Eve for eating the forbidden fruit. If you're serious in breaking the chains, breaking the bondage, own up the responsibility first. So the first step is to take up the responsibility. Number 2, the second step to break the chains, to break the bondage of addiction, is to rescue yourself by all means. Rescue yourself. Do whatever you can to get out of this. You know what? God takes sin seriously. This is not a temporary situation. It's a serious matter which will throw you out of the gates of the heaven. You know that many people don't get delivered out of addiction because they take it so lightly. Know that you don't have to do this because everybody is doing it. When God decided to destroy the world by flooding it, God chose only one person in the whole crowd because he was righteous. Rescue yourself. Make tremendous decisions telling yourself the fact that you're not going to do this, you're not going to addicted to this again, ever again. Rescue yourself. So how to get victory out of this temptation? Let me give you three simple things, 3 simple thoughts to get rid of this temptation. Number 1, resist yourself. And number 2, remove it. And number 3, run away. 3 thoughts, 3 R's you should keep to get victory out of this temptation. Number 1, resist yourself. Number 2, remove it. And number 3, run away from it. 3 R's. Keep this in your mind. So the final step to get out of addiction, the first step is take responsibility for your actions. Number 2, which is rescue yourself. And number 3, the final step to get rid of this addiction is return to God. Return to God. What does this mean? It tells you that you were running after sin all these days. But from now you should return back to God. The Bible says if you seek Him with all your mind, your soul, your strength, you will be found of Him. You can know who He really is. You might say that, I love you, Lord, for your mercy is on me. But what did you do to love Him? Faith without works is dead. Don't stop yourself with the second step. You can't get out of this bondage without this final step. So, 3 steps to break the chain of bondage of addiction. To break the bondages of addiction. Number 1, take up the responsibility. Number 2, rescue yourself. And number 3, return back to God. Take this serious if you are desperate about the breaking of the bondage of addiction. Make sure you subscribe this channel for more updates and more thoughts like this.